あの七部会どこに。
In the dynamic world of anime, there are countless moments when the characters are faced with trials and adversaries that are sometimes even beyond their control. But what makes these characters truly admirable is the fact that they stand against all odds and their resilience shines the brightest. Today we're talking about some of the most iconic I'm still standing moments in anime that will inspire you to never give up. Starting off is the moment when Motoko fought the armored suit in Ghost in the Shell. Motoko from Ghost in the Shell is usually an extremely composed individual who never lets her emotion get the best of her. However, in this specific scene, Motoko is shown to lose it as one of her teammates is shot by the soldier piloting the armored suit. In this specific scene, Motoko is subjected to a genuine brush with death as the soldier piloting the armored suit keeps attacking and crushing her without even stopping for a second. But thanks to Motoko's resilience and her human instinct to survive and overcome, she stood till the end, let herself be consumed by her rage, and forced the soldier to give up shooting his suit multiple times. This is undoubtedly one of the most iconic moments in Ghost in the Shell that makes us realize that beneath the steel exterior lies a heart that beats with human determination. Now, let's talk about a brawl between two best friends.
それは私の人生においても二度と放てぬほど。それは我が剣が親友を寸断した後のことであった。
Fukuzawa and Fukuchi squared off in an epic battle against each other. The Great War forced the two buddies to take different paths, with one choosing to end war and the other becoming the leader of a terrorist organization. Talking about the fight then, despite getting slashed again and again, Fukuzawa wasn't ready to give up yet. He kept standing, wanting to prove his buddy wrong about his ideologies and calling him out, but Fukuchi was having none of it and stabbed Fukuzawa right in his chest with his sword. Now, at this point, all of us thought that Fukuzawa was done for, but Fukuzawa stood right back up, catching Fukuchi off guard. With every wound, Fukuzawa's determination burned brighter. He gets stabbed yet again, but this time it's in his shoulder. Yet from the depths of despair, Fukuzawa rises again, taking out the blade from his shoulder and slashing his former friend. Fukuzawa's resolve and determination aren't to be taken lightly because he was ready to fight even while critically injured. Bro is a true warrior. Next up, we have an anime character who's as durable as a tank, even though he looks like he'll get blown away by the wind. Yes, we're talking about Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers, especially during the moment he fought Daiju. Takemichi is the pure definition of a punching bag who gets beaten every single day. When you're in a gang of delinquents, these things are bound to happen, but we're going to focus on Takemichi's I'm still standing moment that he showcased in his fight against Daiju Shiba, a force of nature whose fists seem to have a mind of their own. Daiju loves beating people up and Takemichi seemed to be a perfect target for him. We all know that Daiju is the kind of guy that the likes of Takemichi can never touch. Takemichi kept trying to reach Daiju to attack him, but Daiju punched him in his face every time he attempted to close the distance between them. Takemichi's friends were begging him to stop because they knew his fate, but Takemichi wasn't ready to stop. After taking a number of brutal punches from Daiju like a boss, Takemichi finally lands a punch on the invincible Daiju's face, shocking everyone around him. It's not every day when we see Daiju being humiliated like that. We commend Takemichi's guts to challenge a monster like Daiju and force him onto his knees with a single punch. Moving on, we have one of the most epic battles in the history of anime and manhwa. Yes, we're talking about the blood-pumping battle between Sung Jin-woo and Igris from Solo Leveling. Before talking about the actual battle, I'd like to take a moment to praise the glorious animation and the battle choreography for this fight. A1 Studios really cooked with this fight scene. Talking about Igris, as a martial grade shadow, he is immensely powerful. But on the other hand, Sung Jin-woo is also a formidable opponent. Right from the start, our protagonist could feel the killing intent coming from Igris, and he felt the kind of pressure he never felt before. Without even wasting a second, Igris started attacking our hero, making him feel overwhelmed. In a shocking turn of events, Sung Jin-woo decided to use his fists instead of his weapon, and Igris was also cool with the idea. After getting brutally beaten up by the chivalrous knight, Sung Jin-woo was still ready to stand tall in front of his opponent. And then, in a bold move, Jin-woo seizes his chance and strikes with precision, driving his blade into Igris' eye, winning the battle. It may be a wacky show, but it has this moment where Josuke fought Kira in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. In my opinion, Josuke's fight with Kira is the kind of fight that will keep you on the edge of your seat for a very long time. Why? Well, because the battle is just too long. It's a battle of wits, much like every other battle in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a showdown to see who can outsmart the other first. After Josuke managed to escape from Kira and started thinking about ways to get rid of him, Kira quickly found him and sent his infamous Killer Queen his way to make him explode. Luckily, Josuke manages to survive, but his leg and stomach are impaled by wooden debris. Now, you'd think the game is over at this point, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Josuke's got that legendary Joestar resilience coursing through his veins, and if you know anything about Joestars, is that they don't surrender until they die. And it's the same with him. Josuke doesn't give up even after he's bleeding and unable to move. He finds a way to outsmart the villain and sends him packing, proving once again that when it comes to the JoJo bloodline, giving up isn't in the cards because they'd rather lose their lives than do that. Smashing its way into this list, we have an epic battle between Adam and Zeus from the Record of Ragnarok. Just when we thought Adam won the battle, Zeus got right back up, telling the world that the battle wasn't over yet. With no option left, Zeus transformed into his final form, Adamus, countering Adam's punches like a boss. Both of them kept exchanging punches until Adam landed a successful blow on Zeus. While the crowd thought that Zeus had lost the battle, they were shocked to learn that Adam had died while punching Zeus, paying the ultimate price for his overexertion. This is perhaps one of the best definitions of an I'm still standing moment, because even though he was up against the strongest god, even in death, Adam's back didn't reach the ground. The next I'm still standing moment in anime comes from Seven Deadly Sins, where Meliodas faces Hendrickson. Initially, the rest of the Sins fought alongside Meliodas, but all of them knew very well that they didn't have any chance against the Great Holy Knight. Meliodas took matters into his own hands and unleashed his revenge counter on Hendrickson. The result? Well, it caused a massive explosion and Hendrickson was completely defeated. Despite the odds stacked against Meliodas, he didn't lose heart and emerged victorious through his unwavering resolve. It makes sense because Meliodas' entire ability, full counter, is reliant on him getting beaten up so that he can get some payback that hurts the enemy more. Not to mention this little guy was up against a beast that would have probably killed him right then and there if he made a wrong move. When it comes to unwavering resolve, there's one man who embodies the very essence of the phrase, and it's Netero from Hunter x Hunter. His fight with Meruem had a great impact on all Hunter x Hunter fans, and we still have goosebumps whilst thinking about it. The battle was a battle of endurance, with each side trying to make the other submit first. Netero wanted to have an actual physical fight, while Meruem wanted to talk things out. However, Netero forces Meruem to fight by using his Nen, hoping to overpower him. But Meruem chopped Netero's hand and leg off. Netero's resolve is commendable because he didn't let himself go down even after losing his limbs. Now at this point, he shocked Meruem by asking him if he thought he couldn't pray with one hand. At the peak of the battle, Netero executes the ultimate move, sacrificing himself in a final explosive attack that brings both fighters to their knees. He may have been an old man, but he deserves his position as one of the strongest hunters ever. Next up, we have an entry from the legendary anime Vinland Saga. Our main character, Thorfinn, has shown time and time again how resilient and stubborn he is. In this specific scene, his resilience shines the brightest. Thorfinn goes to Knut's with a peace offering, but his rowdy men didn't let Thorfinn reach him. As Thorfinn refuses to leave, Drott, Knut's bodyguard, decided to do things the hard way. He wanted to beat Thorfinn up, but Thorfinn dodged his attack skillfully. In a surprising turn of events, it's proposed that Thorfinn must endure 100 punches to earn the right to see Knut. Without hesitation, Thorfinn accepts the challenge, bracing himself for the onslaught. He took the full brunt of Drott's heavy punches. The crowd was shocked to see that Thorfinn was still standing even after taking 100 punches to his face. We could see the admiration welling from their hearts as they watched on. In a moment of profound respect, even Drott himself kneels before Thorfinn, acknowledging his incredible strength and determination. This is undoubtedly one of the best I'm still standing moments in the history of anime. That's why people love it, and you can see true character development on display. It's enough to make men cry. This list wouldn't be complete without an entry from Dragon Ball Z, and we have the intense battle between Gohan and Cell in Dragon Ball. Now, Cell isn't someone to be taken lightly. Even Goku and everyone else was unable to overpower the android. When Gohan saw Android 16 getting crushed right in front of him, he turned into Super Saiyan 2 for the very first time. He immediately kills all of the Cell Juniors that everybody else was struggling with. Even though Cell absolutely pummeled Gohan initially, he got a little scared when Gohan was successfully able to hurt him with a few punches. With no option left, Cell unleashes a Kamehameha that could destroy the entire Earth. But to counter it, Gohan unleashes his ultimate Kamehameha and saves the Earth from getting destroyed. This fight between Gohan and Cell shows Gohan's unwavering resolve and growth as a warrior. It proves that even when facing impossible odds, he'll always stand tall to protect his loved ones. You still watching? Well, if that's a yes, then now's a good time for you to give this video a like and support your buddy ViniiTube. Thank you. Moving on, we have another fight scene between the two incredibly powerful characters from Black Clover, Yami and Dante. As the battle starts, Yami doesn't go easy on Dante and attempts to turn Dante into a donut multiple times. But thanks to Dante's devil powers, he regenerates himself in mere seconds. But hey, it is Yami we're talking about here, and even after surpassing his limits, he doesn't give up and keeps fighting. His unwavering determination forced an injured Arslan to get back up on foot and help his master fight the devil. In the end, Yami's strength and drive lead to victory against Dante. His influence on Arslan and the others show that true strength isn't just about power, but about never giving up, no matter what. He may be sometimes weird and pretty aggressive, but if Yami's your captain, you know he's got your back. When it comes to never giving up, there's a character in Naruto who really stands out. No matter what happens, they just keep pushing forward. Yes, we're talking about the iconic Rock Lee versus Gaara fight. Right from the start, we all knew that Gaara was the worst matchup for Rock Lee because of his sand defense. Thanks to Gaara's sand shield, Rock Lee was unable to hit him at first. Even after taking off his weights, Rock Lee was unable to phase Gaara. With no option left, Rock Lee decided to use his technique called the 8 gates. Now, as he opened each gate, he felt strain on his body. Rock Lee decides to turn into a drill along with Gaara and plummets him into the ground. However, Gaara emerges unhurt while Rock Lee is exhausted from overusing his powers. Now, it's Gaara's time to shine. He attacks Rock Lee and Rock Lee takes the full brunt of Gaara's attack, unable to dodge because of all that strain on his body. But wait, Rock Lee isn't one to throw in the towel just yet. He kept opening the gates and used his extremely high speed to overwhelm Gaara. In the end, he was able to defeat Gaara and stood victorious thanks to his perseverance. Now we're talking about the Sound Hashira and his blood-pumping battle against Gyutaro, an upper rank 6 demon in Demon Slayer. First things first, we have to talk about how incredible the visuals of this fight scene really are. This is one of the most well choreographed and fluid fight scenes in the history of action anime. I mean, the animation is godlike, and I've never expected Demon Slayer to be even better after what it showed us during the Infinity Train arc. Now, onto the real star of the show, Tengen Uzui, the Sound Hashira. Despite facing injury and poison, this guy's resolve is as solid as a rock. He's the pure definition of unstoppable. Even after being critically injured, Tengen Then Uzui stands right back up and eliminates Gyotaro with the help of Tanjiro. Had it not been for him, Tanjiro and others wouldn't have been able to survive the mess they'd gotten themselves into. Take note that when he fought Gyotaro, he was even missing a hand, but he still used his massive chain dual Nichirin swords and made Gyotaro so annoyed. No wonder he has 3 wives. Look who's here. The 2 most handsome and powerful men from Jujutsu Kaisen brawling against each other because it's Gojo versus Toji in Jujutsu Kaisen. As the battle starts, Toji moves with the speed of light, forcing Gojo to panic. Toji doesn't waste any time and slices up Gojo, who collapses on the ground. He actually just went in and attacked every vital point known to man, and it was just brutal. Just when we thought Gojo had said goodbye to the world, we saw him standing right in front of Toji a few moments later as if nothing had happened. This time, Gojo finished off Toji by blowing a hole through his body. This is a wonderful example of one of the best I'm still standing moments in the history of anime, because Gojo was dead and managed to survive just because he was pure genius. This fight also embodied the peak battle between sorcery and superhuman abilities, but at the end, we know what happened. Toji pulled a Rengoku right in front of us, and it wasn't pretty. Murasaki. Quite surprisingly, one entry we have in this list is when Reigen confronted Mob at his strongest transformation yet in Mob Psycho Season 3.
Yo. 元気そうじゃねえか。久しぶりだな、信玄よ。
During this time, Mob was literally destroying the entire town and he was ready to release his full power. Keep in mind that Reigen had no powers whatsoever and was just a human, but despite that, he kept running towards him. Reigen was being blown away. He was bruised, beaten and bloody, but he still just kept running. This man is the definition of a master because he was willing to sacrifice everything just to get his disciple. When the music started, I was hype as hell and the emotions just kept flooding in. Reigen didn't stop for anything, and at the end, with a little help from Dimple, he was able to get close to Mob and stop his rampage. He even revealed his true self and admitted he was a fraud. It was only through Reigen that Mob stopped and accepted himself. He might not have fought like Zaraki or Asta, but he was just as cool. And this is why he's the very essence of the entire Mob Psycho series. Next, we have one of the most awe-inspiring moments in the history of anime, where Guts, our hero from Berserk, had to fight off 100 men all by himself. This fight scene had a massive impact on all Berserk fans. Guts, the kind of man who always has been merciless when it comes to fighting his opponents, was supposed to protect Casca from a bunch of bad boys, and so he annihilated every single one of them using his brutal ways, of course. During the first section of the fight, Guts kills around 30 men. Soon his opponents realized the gravity of the situation after seeing Guts' raw power and started running away to save their lives. They'd seen Guts killing 3 men at the same time with a single slash. I mean, it's not every day when you see that kind of raw power. Anyway, the fight continued and Guts kept swinging his sword and slashing the bad guys left and right. The one thing that I absolutely love about Guts is that he was unfazed even after finding out he'd be up against 100 men. He stayed resilient in the end and turned the odds against his opponents, forcing them to flee even though they were outnumbering him by a massive scale. The fight we're going to talk about next is one of the most hyped fights in the history of action anime. It's Ichigo versus Ulquiorra in Bleach. We got to see Ichigo's glorious holification unlike any other. Ichigo was unable to beat Ulquiorra, the strongest Espada in Aizen's army, using his own strength. Ulquiorra gave our hero a tough time without even breaking a sweat. Ichigo, on the other hand, was struggling, even to close the distance between him and his enemy. When hope seems to have disappeared, Inoue begs Ichigo to help her, and his lifeless body transforms into something that none of us anticipated. Ichigo looked extremely badass in his new form, and all of us started to wonder if he was the villain. After that, the entire battle between the two 2 turned out to be of epic proportions. The hollow form unleashed all the pent-up rage that Ichigo had accumulated in him. Ichigo challenged death and decided to stand tall in front of his foe. With Ichigo's newfound powers, he showed Ulquiorra who the real boss was. You can tell just how good it is by the amount of AMVs people made with this exact fight. With a worldwide beatdown, we have the legendary showdown between two superpowers, All Might versus One for All, each with different values and goals from My Hero Academia.
United, stay
This fight had a strong impact on My Hero Academia fans, and we started respecting All Might even more. Now in this fight we get to see All Might unleashing his full powers for the very last time, well, or maybe not. In the world of My Hero Academia, All Might is the strongest hero and All for One is the strongest villain. So as a result, the battle was of massive proportions. All for One's powers are akin to natural disasters, while One for All has the power of countless quirks. The matchup couldn't have been more perfect. During the battle, All Might reached his limit, and even with his distorted form, All Might wasn't ready to back down. All Might decided mid-battle that he wasn't ready to die just yet. This glorious fight scene is extremely beautifully animated. We also got emotional by the end as we knew that All Might wouldn't be able to survive for long, given how much he pushed himself for this specific fight. Of course, we have an entry from One Punch Man, a thrilling fight between Garo and 8 A-class heroes. The fight was obviously in favour of the A-class heroes because they were all ganging up on a solitary man. But hey, Garo welcomed all of them with his arms wide open. Yes, he told them to bring it on, and that too confidently. He was excited because once he eliminated those heroes, he would have hunted over 100 heroes, and that's a pretty big achievement for him. As the fight started, the heroes started attacking them all at once. He managed to dodge most of the attacks, but was stabbed by 2 arrows in his back. The heroes weren't coming slowly at all. They kept pushing Garo to surrender in front of them, but it is Garo we're talking about here. His pride wouldn't allow him to do something so shameful like that. Soon enough, Garo was able to intercept the heroes' attack patterns and started eliminating them one by one. Even after being severely injured, Garo didn't give up and the fight ended up with him being victorious. Perhaps one of the most iconic scenes to ever be included in this list, we have Zoro from One Piece. And we all know how insanely popular Zoro's Nothing Happened scene is. It all started after the intense battle between the Straw Hat Pirates and Gecko Moria. Even though our heroes defeated the Oars and Gecko Moria, their troubles weren't over as the world government sent Bartholomew Kuma to the island. Now, Luffy was unconscious, but our man Zoro was still standing. He kept fighting Kuma along with the other Straw Hats to protect Luffy, but none of them could withstand Kuma's terrifying powers. Zoro asked Kuma to take his life instead of Luffy's. Impressed with Zoro's bravery, Kuma agreed and made Zoro experience every single damage that Luffy had taken in his previous battle. The damage was insane, but Zoro took it like a boss. He was found standing in a pool of his own blood even after suffering so much pain. This just proves that Zoro's not just following Luffy for fun, but he actually respects his captain and is willing to do anything for him, even take all of his pain. It was such an impactful scene that even till now, it hits the right spots. And with that, we're wrapping up our best I'm Still Standing moments in anime. There are a lot of moments like these, and we might have missed your favourites, so make sure to comment down below any moments that you think should have made this list. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more juicy content. See you in the next video.